My guest today is Greg Siourounis. Greg is the managing director at the Sui Foundation, building Sui, which of course is a layer one blockchain designed to make digital asset ownership fast, private, secure, and accessible to everyone. Welcome to the show, Greg.
Thank you for having me. You said it all in one phrase about the Sui.
Hey, great to have you here, Greg. Let's do what we do at the beginning of the show. It would be cool if you could please introduce yourself. Love to hear a little bit of your personal and professional backstory. Yeah, what you've been doing in the lead up to getting involved with everyone at Sui.
Sure. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the time and the opportunity to talk about Sui. As you said, my name is Greg Siourounis, a very long Greek name. So most of the people just call me Greg for for the ease of it. Um, I'm the managing director, the global managing director of the Sui Foundation. Sorry, my microphone just fell. Sorry about that.
No worries.
And the my mission is actually to increase global awareness of the Sui protocol. This is the mandate that also the foundation has. As regards my personal background, I'm kind of split between two different, worlds. One is the academic world. So I have a background in academia. I hold a PhD from London Business School, and I'm also a professor at a university here in Athens. And I used to visit also for a few years Brown University in the US. Among other places. The other half is entrepreneurial activity. So I've been involved heavily into early in my career into forex algorithmic trading. I've set up like 4 hedge funds. They all blew up at some point, so it was a good lesson to learn. It's always like that with machines. Communicating with machines, you have to keep an eye on them. And my previous last, let's say, endeavor was a payment service provider here in Greece, which is regulated by the Bank of Greece and the European Union, which does payments, online payments, e-commerce payments, as we call them. This PSP, as they are called, it was bought out from the biggest marketplace here in Greece, which is called Scrouge. It's the Amazon of Greece. So after this experience, which is very close to online payments and actually the virtual world security and what can we do next? My next step was at the Sui Foundation, where I'm actually one of the founding members since 2022. That's about it.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. So, well, tell us a little bit about Sui then, Greg. It'd be good to just get an understanding at a high level. Yeah, what is the vision for Sui?
Yeah, that's a great question. Sui is, as you said, very correctly, a layer one blockchain built from a great team that they were all ex-DM. So they're very much experienced researchers and technology fellows that they understood very well the problems that current chains were facing, and the main problem actually is scalability and adoption. Why? Because most of the early developers of blockchains, they had a completely different focus, which was to experiment with this new notion of peer-to-peer transactions, decentralization, things like asset movement on chain in a fast and of course hopefully secure way, but there was little research and implementation on scalability, and that's what Sui is coming to resolve. It's scalability, of course, in a secure and transparent way. And the second thing that is very important is adoption. Adoption means how easy a non, let's say, a degen or a non blockchain savvy person can use the technology either to program on it or to use it as an end product and not to have to, uh, you know, um, um, cope with all this really technical and highly mathematical jargon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The
And
vision.
you mentioned DM. That's how you say it, isn't it? And that's the there was the Facebook Libra, a blockchain
Right.
project that was for a while incredibly promising, and then just ran into one too many regulatory problems, and so it got shelved. But that was like for a while one of the top, I guess, blockchain teams, and so a lot of those people are now the Sui team, right?
Right. Yes. All the five founders are XDM leaders. So Evan was the lead tech and research, and also he was running all the development in the DM project. Sam, he was a top engineer. He's actually the founder of Move language, which is a new language that was founded in Facebook and was developed by Sam and his team, and now it's sitting with the Sui team, and we think it's gonna set the next paradigm for programming in the smart contracts, let's say, sector in blockchain. Simply because it's very intuitive, it's object oriented, and it's very secure, which is always an issue. And then we have like Costas. Costas, he was the head cryptographer in R3. He's a top cryptographer in the world. He's behind all these new elements that we brought in the industry, which is like the ZK login, zero knowledge login. You just need a very few elements from your, let's say, multimedia or your let's say Facebook or Google account, and you can just log in and create like on the back a very nice wallet. You don't need all this jargon with MetaMask and redirection and all this really cumbersome flows. And then we have George Zanezis. George is one of the top researchers in the world in cryptography and design, who actually designed the consensus algorithm. And he's actually also a professor at UCL. So all of them really high caliber people that they came together and they gave birth into this new, we think, a new paradigm of how we should think about asset ownership and interoperability between humans and machines.
Yeah, no, thank you, Greg. You're exactly right. The Sui team is an incredibly strong and talented team, and I suppose it's kind of the umbrella company for the team, if you like, is Mysten Labs, right? So because I was looking through the Mysten Labs website, and you can see all the I guess the founders and the team that you've just identified there. Also interesting, of course, there's on the Mysten Labs website, Greg, you can see the investors or the backers behind Sui, and there's some pretty big names there as well. You got A16Z, Andreessen Horowitz, Crypto, Coinbase Ventures, Binance Labs, Sino Global Capital, Spartan, a lot of big names there. So you can see that there's some significant capital, some significant talent, a big team. So yeah, there's a lot of belief in Sui as a potential platform for Web3, Greg.
Right. And as always, you invest in human capital because machines can be programmed, at least still. We are not in a place where they program themselves, hopefully, and we are still in control of that. So there is a very big investment in human capital intensity that has been governed and gathered in Mysten Labs. The foundation is a discrete entity that is managing the treasury. And it's, as I said, our mission is to actually increase the awareness of the Sui protocol in the community. And of course, one of the main members of this community is Mysten Labs.
Yeah. Well, tell us how do you go about that then, Greg? Like in terms of raising the profile of Sui, attracting new users to the platform, attracting developers to build on the platform. Because one of the problems, I'm sure you'll agree, in the wider blockchain space at the moment is it's very fragmented. There are a lot of different competing chains, competing for users, competing for developers. Meanwhile, the kind of trader market is very fickle, and at the moment it's just kind of distracted. Where you'd use the term degens, there's plenty of degens, but traders are just attracted by meme coins at the moment. So it's quite difficult for different ecosystems to gain significant traction.
Yeah, you are absolutely right on that, and you described very well. I would say, with extreme, accuracy, what exactly is going on in this space. And yes, there is a lot of noise, as we call it. There is a lot of noise because there are so many, as you said, startups, and every day a new chain is coming ahead. But the mission that we have is actually to try to distinguish between two things. One thing is, as you said, I mean, if you just want to speculate on the technology, which is usual, buy low, sell high, or whatever strategy wants somebody to follow, which we completely abstract from. And the other investment or mission that we have is to show if you're serious on solving problems that the Web2 world has, and you want to use this new technology, then the path is, or the prominent path right now, we believe, and in the future we think it's going to be the paradigm, is Sui. So it's a tech stack call. It's not something else that is trying to, infiltrate the way that people think about trading assets or something like that. We completely abstract from that. You're right, though. How on earth do you actually do that? And it's very tough, to be honest with you. It is very tough because there's a lot of noise, and then you have to distinguish the audience that you are targeting. And we, as I said, we target developers that they are interested to develop real world applications, and we offer them support on that. Support means both in terms of seminars, workshops, and of course, if they have some ideas, some grassroots, grants that we give very selectively. Then the second, pillar that we use in order to attract and make us known to the community is through global marketing awareness with several events, like the one that we recently did in Paris. We called it Basecamp, and it also marked the 1 year anniversary of the chain. And so that was super, successful. We had a huge, audience, more than 80%, show up relative to the registrations, and 99%, positive feedback. And so that is the second, let's say, tool we use, marketing and global awareness and events. And the third one is, of course, through community activation, so through the several, avenues like education itself. So we are very much involved into actually the academic world as well. So we have given a very generous grant to the London Business School in order to see how we can, actually make aware, the leaders of tomorrow of this new technology and how can solve problems they face in their, Web2 businesses. Also, we have a partnership with the American University of Sharjah in the Emirates, which again we have set up a Sui blockchain, a Sui academy within the university, and then the goal there is actually to make students so that they're the next entrepreneurs, to make them aware of this new stream of blockchain technology. And we also have like a global program which is called SARA, so which is Sui Academic Research Awards, which they give grants to researchers that actually are sitting in very prestigious universities across the globe in order to start researching blockchain in general, and of course how Sui can participate in this new era of blockchain technology and solve either technical or business problems. Last but not least, we also engage into enterprise level agreements like Google Cloud and and there's some other prominent deals we have done with very let's say big players in the world, where again there we're trying to see how our technology fits in their vision for Web3 and AI for the next day.
Yeah, fantastic. Lots going on there, Greg. I
Yeah.
did see, I did see that you referenced the Sui Foundation had launched, the Blockchain Academy, I think, with the UAE University, and I saw a quote of you, a quote from you online somewhere when you were talking about. You were pleased and I guess pleasantly surprised that many of the students coming through had quite good awareness in terms of their understanding of what blockchains could potentially be useful for. And I think you said like 7 out of 10 ideas that were presented from students from high school had blockchain as one part of the solution. So that goes to show that perhaps there is some penetration of these ideas and these technologies coming through to the younger generation, which is good to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, spot on. And thank you for bringing this up because it's very important. I mean, education for us is of paramount importance. Why? Because there are two parts of the education. One part is actually to create the right filters in the minds of students of what is blockchain and what actually is built for. Because there is a lot of noise, as we said in the beginning. So lots of people are claiming different things, but if you don't have the knowledge to distinguish which from these things that you hear are the ones that they pertain and they actually have some usability, then you can very easily get lost. So that's one part of the education. And the other part, of course, is how this technology can be used in order to solve, again, everyday problems in a much faster, secure, and robust way. And yes, we had an amazing experience. We were visiting American University of Sharjah for the signature of the official, signature of the agreement with the dean of the university. And then when we walked out, we were just called that day, actually, accidentally, there was a competition, student competition for new ideas. So we were called in the auditorium to actually take part as observers. And as you said, we saw that 7 out of 10 projects they had some blockchain element in their idea, and the level was in the level of the students. So we're so much surprised that there is so much interest in this new in this new technology, and of course, it actually created us how can I say an anxiety, if even if one can say also somehow a need to actually give more in terms of knowledge content and education in these new generations on this new technology.
Yeah, very well said. Look, if you go to the Sui website, Greg, it says, Sui delivers the benefits of Web3 with the ease of Web2, which is about as simple and clear and elegant a description as you could hope to provide for a blockchain. But I wonder, it's Web3 is still kind of it's a nebulous idea. It's quite hard for a lot of people to define, right? And there's, you kind of wonder, is the mainstream really looking for Web3 yet? Are we giving them the right solution? So I guess what I'm saying is, how does Sui think about what Web3 is, and what are the kinds of things that we want people to be able to do in this kind of next generation of digital life, if you will?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. Yes, you're right. It's one thing to post something, and it's another thing how you think about it and what you do about it. And as you said, I mean, the adoption is very low. So we have to be very, very clear, and it's very low, both in terms of infrastructure that is using this new technology, and it's also very low in terms of DeFi relative to all the other markets that are out there. I mean, the crypto market is 3 billion, or all the other markets, 3 trillion in market cap. All the other markets are 300 trillion. So it's still very it's very small. What we're trying to do is we're trying to actually approach these companies, or these managers, or Web2 companies, or sectors, and try to tap on problems they have in the infrastructural level. So there are things that you can resolve with blockchain that you cannot do it with the existing technology. One is transparency. The other one is accountability. The third one is immutability. What do I mean by that? Let me give you an example. So, for example, we had a project recently that we created emission certificates. How on earth you can actually, in a transparent way, make sure that the clean energy that you consume, and when you plug in your Tesla on the one side, it's actually produced from a wind plant on the other side. Right now, this is impossible. Why? Because all the data is kept into CRMs, closed loop systems that they don't have like any exposure in the audience, so nobody knows if it's really the case. So what we did is we recorded end to end on the chain the production of the technology from a wind farm and from solar farm and from water pumps. And then we recorded this until the end user. So that was, for example, one example where this technology can help. The other one is identity. How I can actually, recognize that it's you without having to reveal all this information that we usually have to reveal to each other. I mean, I have to show you my, picture, my ID, my date of birth, all these things that, pertain, and we think that they should be private. So the technology there can also be used or the blockchain can also be used in a certain way to identify individuals without actually having to show all this information. The third way we're trying to infiltrate is in the in DeFi, which is accessibility. It's much more accessible into more people. And e-commerce also, it makes things much easier if you want to build like a loyalty program or a rewards program within a closed loop environment. That also can be the tool to use. But going back to your question and not trying to get around it, it's very difficult for Web2 companies to understand the usability of this new technology for two reasons. First, because most of them, they don't want to disrupt the existing mainstream, way of doing things. So they think that an infrastructural change might take them years to do, and they will be accountable to their shareholders. So it needs more than to convince the CEO or the CTO. And so there is a lot of work that has to be done from the consulting companies, from the ecosystem, from the mainstream decision-making process. And the second reason why we have like this resistance is that the technology has to sit on the back. I mean, the white audience doesn't have to know that it's using something that is blockchain. Why? Because it gets somehow scared, and gets scared because of the uncertainty around the regulation. That's another thing that I think it holds back the exploration of this technology. Everyone that is serious on this business and serious on this technology needs regulatory clarity. This is what we need: regulatory clarity. Tell us what is kosher and what is not, and then we will find a way to walk this path that is the kosher one. Right now, regulatory uncertainty is the worst, state of the world for this new technology.
Yeah, very, very well said, Greg. And I think you're exactly right. I couldn't agree more. And unfortunately, that's just the way the world is. There's so many different markets, and the problem, when blockchain is kind of, nation state agnostic, if you like, the idea is to break down borders. But when you have different jurisdictions trying to make up different rules, it's very hard for anyone to play the same game if the rules are constantly changing. Yeah, it's tough, Greg.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's why what's going on is they play like a game theory. The game theory that they all play. Okay, let's see what the big players are going to do, and then we're going to do the same. So, and then the big players are very hesitant to go and do something because they're not or either they're not sure what exactly they want to do, or they still want to see how far this technology can get in order to get into the details of regulation.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, as we finish up this part of the podcast, Greg, for people that want to dive into the wonderful world of Sui and learn about, what Sui is, maybe explore the Sui Foundation, what is the best place for people to go?
That's a good question. We have ample resources on the web where everybody can see, educational material that if you're a developer, it has like a lot of material knowledge created from our teams. And of course, we are very approachable as well as a team. So anyone can, ping us and ask any question he has or any ideas. More than happy to vet it and see how we can progress forward.
Fantastic. I think what we do now then, Greg, is we finish off by having some fun. We're going to run you through the very famous crypto conversation hot take round. Are you up for it?
Sure, yeah. I've never sat down before, but let's see what it is.
I'm just going to run some questions at you, Greg. I just want you to give me honest hot take style answers. It's just a bit of fun. It's how we like to finish up the podcast. Question one for you. Bit of a funny one, but where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
I think the multi-chain is the future. No one shoe is for all food. So,
yep, makes sense. Answer. Makes sense. Not even a hot take. All right. What would you say, Greg, is your firmest conviction crypto opinion?
I think that the technology is amazing for certain things, and it's definitely worth exploring it. Also, I think that in the next 10 to 15 years, the two technologies that will be prevailing is AI and blockchain.
Yeah,
and I can explain that further.
Please.
It has to do with information and acknowledgement of information.
Yep. Lots happening in AI at the moment as well.
Yep.
Greg, Bill Gates famously said that we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. You'd be very familiar with that, working in blockchain. But, whatever you like here, Web3, DeFi, Sui, what does it look like in 10 years' time?
10 years' time, we hope to be one of the prevailing blockchain technologies that people use to build real-world applications. And I very much agree that if you want to live for long, you have to find a way to not just ride the wave, but create technology to actually slice the wave.
Well, that's very well said. Slice the wave. I like it. All right. Sci-fi author William Gibson said that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. With that in mind, Greg, can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people aren't aware of it?
Yes, that's a great quote, and I totally agree. There is a huge inequality in the world. Inequality in terms of education, inequality in terms of accessing information, and access to education, to actually also resources. So blockchain is one example that, as you said, is nation agnostic. So people don't realize that actually by participating in a blockchain environment, you actually don't have to pertain in your local restrictions. You can actually be free, and that's what we have to push and make people understand.
Absolutely, very well said. Brings us nicely to the final question, which is, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, or TV show?
Star Wars, by far.
Very nice. Original trilogy, are we talking?
Yes, and there is a sentimental reason for that, because the first ever movie I saw, being grown up in a very small village, was actually episode, I think one, or not, it was three, four, no, not three, four, five, six. So it was episode, I think, four, some years ago in the 70s.
Fantastic. That would be Empire Strikes Back. Is that right? Yeah. So.
Probably yes. It was 1978 or 77, the original one. So it was like 3 years old.
Okay, fantastic. Hey, well, look, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Greg, and spending some time with us today. Just to finish off, tell people where they can find you on Twitter, X, wherever else you like to hang out online. And again, just for people wanting to delve deep into, yeah, I don't know, just looking at Sui or diving into the technical docs. I know you've got lots of great resources. Where should they go?
Yeah, it's web. I'm in LinkedIn, I'm in Twitter, but usually, LinkedIn and also directly mailing me, it's fine, and they can find me anywhere they want. And happy to talk to anybody that is interested.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Greg. All the best, and bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, there you go. That was Greg from Sui. Sui looks great, actually, and yeah, I mean the team behind it, yeah, one of the best teams, I think, as we kind of discussed. But you can see all those guys on, yeah, the Mysten Labs website, or just go to Sui. Links, of course, are in the show notes. Star Wars did I get that confused? Couldn't have been Empire Strikes Back. Would have been A New Hope. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. We reached the end of another show. Thank you for listening, team. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin. Bye for now. See ya.